Hi everybody, it's Tamara from Eyes, and I have a fun little sort of pocket that we're going to make today. It has a little flip on it and you can put fun things inside. And this was inspired by this ugly thing, which I found in a desk drawer at home. It's from a really old printer and it had a CD, like it had the software in it, and I thought, why am I hanging on to this? So getting rid of the CD, and but I liked this little envelope that it was in, and this is like a heavy cardstock, or it's not heavy, it's just a cardstock. So I took it apart to get a template, and so this is what we're going to do or use to make this. So this template, from the very top to the very bottom, that is 14 3/4 inches. And then from side to side, 14 3/4 inches, that's 37.5 centimeters. And then side to side is 4 7/8 of an inch, and that's 12.5 centimeters. And then you've got sort of 3 sections, and each one is about 4 7/8 inch square. So you'll measure from the bottom 4 7/8 because you're going to make that square, and then you'll make a fold line, and then same from the top down. And then you'll have this middle section, and that's where you put a couple little flaps on. And these little flaps are, they're about 3/4 of an inch wide. So you'll just, add some little flaps on there. Easy peasy. Can be as wide or narrow as you want, but these ones just happen to be that measurement. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, once you've got your template all set and ready to go, is make the base of this. Now, obviously it's not going to fit on 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper, so what I'm going to use is a business envelope, and I think this one is, I think it's 10.5 by 13. It doesn't really matter what size your envelope is or whatever your base is that you're using, it just needs to be able to fit this on it. So what I need to do is open it right up. And the reason I like the business envelope is because it's got just a little bit more body to it than regular paper. Okay, so going to get this on here, and I'm just going to go old school as usual. I'm going to trace this out, and like I said before, if you have a cutting machine, this will be a lot easier, and you just make 4 squares, put some flaps on it, take a little half circle out of one of the squares, and there you've got your design. I do have a cutting machine. I could use it. I have a silhouette machine, and I think I've mentioned before it's a little on the older side, so it doesn't always jive with the current software, so it doesn't always do what it's supposed to do. So I get a little bit frustrated with it, and sometimes I find just working with paper with your hands is a lot more satisfying anyways. I'm just going to cut my traced pattern out with some scissors. There we go. So it is November here now. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but it's November, and it is a little chilly outside. There's snow on the ground that was probably not going to melt. Things were melting yesterday, which was Halloween, and that was a good thing for the kids that went out trick-or-treating. but it was still pretty chilly. So again, for this top part, you could just cut straight across and use a hole punch if you have a big hole punch, or even a small hole punch. It doesn't have to be the exact same size. Be nice to have like a little scalloped hole in there. That would be pretty. And almost done here. Ooh. Okay. Get all those scraps out of the way. And I'm not going to get too crazy about getting out the you know, the bone folder and the board and all that stuff. I'm just going to fold it. Let's see here. So this is going to come up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to fold the, which one is my top? I'm going to fold the one with the circle up first. That's what I'm going to do, because that will make sure that it all lines up. There we go. And then that's my flap for the top. And I just happened to line that up with a crease that was in the envelope, so that just fell over right away. Now, if you want to change things up, you could scallop that edge, which we might do. You could round it, you could make it shorter, whatever you want. This is just the base of what we're going to make. So now I'm not going to decorate the back, but I do want to use some book pages for these two flaps. So I'll get out my trusty French novel here. It has such nice, thick, creamy pages, so that helps with the giving this some body as well. So again, I'm simply going to, oh no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take an even shorter cut than tracing. I'm just going to add glue right on here, and then we'll stick the page on, and then we'll cut off the excess. That is the easiest way to go about this. Lots and lots of glue, especially around the edges. And let's see here, which side shall we use? Well, let's use, I want that to be outside. And go right around there. Get it all down right to the edges. So now I can just cut around. Just, of course, you got to be careful that you don't cut your base envelope. Ah. My glue's getting down to the end, so it keeps falling over. This doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to use book pages. You can use scrapbook paper, you could use gift wrap, you could use calendar images, so many things you can use. Okay, yay, it's right side up even. Alright, so we'll just do exactly the same on the top flap. And you know what, I think what I want to do on this top flap, I want to, oh my goodness, my desk is so messy. I want to round these corners, and I have to use my envelope punch board because I broke my corner rounder, and this is the handiest corner rounder I have now. There we go. Get that out of the way. Okay, I like that better. Much nicer. Alright, so same thing. Just glue everywhere. Right to the edge, around the corners. There we go. And what will be, I think that will be our front. right on there. Make sure it's somewhat straight. Always helps. Whoops, sorry. My table, this is actually a table for sewing, and this is like a leaf that pulls out, so it's not super duper stable, which is why every once in a while, because my camera's on a tripod on the table, every once in a while it's sort of, I shake the whole thing. Okay, let's quickly go around. And now we have a base envelope, or pocket I should say. What we want to do is those two little tabs that you cut, we're going to put some glue on those tabs once they've been folded in, and just flip that top part, the bottom part. Flip that up. There we go. And now all that's left to do is decorate, which is the fun part, right? So first thing we will do is ink all of the edges up. And for this one, you'll have to do the inside and the outside. Oh, and that's the other thing. On this, oh, I see a corner I need to re-glue. On this top flap, if you want to, and I think I do want to, but I'll do it later, you might want to line the inside so that there's something on here as well. Okay. Now, what I probably should have done was ink that top edge before I put it in there, but what you can do is just put something behind it, and we've done this trick before, and you can get right on the edge like that. There you go. Perfect. Alright, so now what to decorate it with. So here's our original. So what I did, I found the image I wanted first, and let's see what I have here. These are my botanicals. I think we'll use something in here. How about that one? That one's pretty. Can you see that? So I'm going to, and it doesn't have to be an actual image, it could just be something like this, which is, you know, something we had left over from our last project last week, and you could use that for designing something. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back that envelope, that business envelope we used for the base, and I'm going to cut a little piece of that off, and I'm going to put my image on here. So this will be a little bit of a, oh, well, this is when it gets hard because it's so pretty on both sides. Darn it. Now I get stuck. I don't know which one to use. Oh, I think I'm going to have to choose a different image because I can't decide. What do we have here? Oh, that one's pretty on both sides too. So is this one, but I'm going to use that one. Leave just a tiny bit of white around the edge. Well, it's not white, it's like a cream. Leave just a tiny bit around the edges. I hate making decisions like that, trying to decide which side is the best side when they're both gorgeous. Okay, there we go, back on track. So I'm going to glue, oh, maybe I'll put a little ink on this first. just on the edge. There we go. Okay, so now finally I'm going to glue this baby down. Okay. And whoop, stick it right in the middle there. And it doesn't have to be straight, because what I'm going to do is take my scallop scissors and I'm going to cut around it to make this sort of, it's almost like a postage stamp look, although it would be a supremely large postage stamp. But it's just like a little frame, right? So I'm just going to go around the whole thing, try to keep it somewhat even. I always have a hard time on the corners when I'm cutting with scallops. I never know where to cut next. I don't like that. There we go. I'm so glad I found these scissors. I'm trying to look at what I have a little bit more, what's in my stash, and shop my stash, and use tools that I haven't used in a long time, things that I've forgotten I even have. That's such a waste if they're just sitting there and not being used. So, okay, so now I'm going to, once again, we're going to ink all the edges of our little scalloped edge here. Okay, there we go. All inked up and ready to go. And that is just going to get stuck right on the front. So I think I was telling you guys in my last video, I don't go crazy with things like lace and layers and all that kind of stuff. And it's not because I don't have that stuff and not because I can't do it. It's just, this is the style that I like to make. It's fairly simple. I like to have sort of one big focal point and not a whole bunch of stuff going on. Although there are people that have that style that I just love their stuff. Sometimes I watch Tracy Fox, and when she makes something and I think, oh, that's nice, and then she adds a layer, and then she adds more, and I would keep thinking, okay, she must be done by now, but she keeps adding stuff and it just keeps looking more and more gorgeous. But for us today, this is as far as I'm going. Just adding a little image on the front, and then it opens up. And then you know, you can stick a tag in there. Let me find one of our tags that we did last week. You can stick some tags in there if you want, or this one, I just cut an image from a cross-stitch book, and then I used more of that envelope paper as my backing, and then put some lines and a little image on the back, and then that can go in there as like a journaling card. So I'm not going to do that today, but that gives you some ideas. It can also just be like a little Happy Mail pocket. You can decorate the back, and then you can see, you know, just clip it into your journal instead of gluing it on a page. This would be nice, I think, on the inside cover, the front or the back cover. I always like to have pockets on the covers on the inside. All kinds of ideas and all kinds of ways that you can use these. So I hope you have fun with them, and I hope that gives you lots of great ideas for your next junk journal. So thanks very much for joining me today, and have a really crafty and fun day. Thank you. Bye-bye.